Wonderful. Well, happy February, everyone. I know we meet at the end of the month, and gosh, did February already go by so quickly? Um, Still another week to go, but tonight we have a lot of good things to discuss and dive into. So I really appreciate you taking the time to log in, and I'll try to do a lot of screen sharing too. I know my last few weeks' emails have had a lot of updates, but I also want to take some time to show you some of those and some tips and tricks, and hopefully dive into some of the things in more detail. But like we always start our meetings, I want to give our government relations director, Leo, some time to overview us on some of our legislative priorities this year and where we stand on some of those, and some asks that we have for support from all of you. So, Leo, I'll let you get us started, please.
Great, thanks, Sarah, and hi, everyone. So not a whole lot of updates, but the House is finally getting going. This is the longest start to a session that I feel like they've ever had, at least in my 12 years of doing this. Um, they did finally introduce bills. I think they introduced 50 some bills in one day. Um, Kind of the rule of thumb is the bills numbers 1 through 10 are their priority bills. Several bipartisan bills, which was great to see. Um, we did have our biomarker bill officially introduced, and that's House Bill 24, if I'm not misremembering. Yeah, House Bill 24. And we were looking also for the copay accumulator bill to be introduced, and it was not introduced yet. Had a call with Rep. Manchester, who's the sponsor of the bill, and she was trying to clean up some language to hopefully keep some people from opposing or looking for ways to kind of nitpick some of the language as a soft reason to be against the bill. So that bill it's not been introduced yet, will be introduced soon. She said hopefully within the next week or two.
Hey,
Pam
Leo.
Neese, yeah.
Yeah, just real quick. Do we have a bill number for copay?
No, it hasn't been introduced, so there's no bill number.
Okay, but biomarkers is 24.
Yes, House
House
Bill
Bill
24.
24.
Yep.
Thank you.
To my knowledge, neither bill will be introduced in the Senate as a companion bill. We're just going to focus on getting them through the House first, then over to the Senate. So yeah, no real big surprises in any of the bills that were introduced as far as it pertains to us and the work that we focus on. The budget bill was finally rolled out. That did include our two asks. So the $5.5 million in addition as additional money per year for tobacco control, which puts us at 20 million per year. That's exactly what we asked for this budget cycle. And then continuing $1.1 million for breast and cervical cancer project. That was also added in. So our focus now is to keep the Republicans from touching it and letting it stay in as is, as the governor proposed. There's always tweaks to what the governor proposed. It never stays the same, but hopefully those two will remain. The one thing that was added in that was a little bit of a surprise was a statewide flavored tobacco ban. We were not expecting that to be put in because the governor didn't talk about it at all. But that was his strategy. He didn't want to draw attention to it. Usually, something like that rolls out, we're one of the first groups to get asked for a quote or to be talking about it in the press. That didn't happen this time around. I'm not optimistic about this staying in the budget. I think this will get stripped out sometime in the House. And if it makes it through the House by some miracle, I think it would get stripped out in the Senate. Or it won't get stripped out and they will alter the language so much that it will be a terrible policy that we wouldn't support. And so what I'm trying to say is they might alter what Governor DeWine put in as a good policy and turn it into a preemption type language, which we do not support. So we'll have to kind of watch that one closely. A lot of the groups that we typically partner with on this issue don't really want to touch it yet. Kind of the governor's strategy, don't draw attention to it until we have to. So we're going to have to kind of play this one by ear as we hear any developments. That's pretty much it for State House updates, but of course, happy to answer questions.
At least they're showing signs of life.
Yeah, finally. There's still a bit of a power struggle in the House Republican caucus. I don't know if that's going to fizzle out or if they're going to finally come to terms. I'm not really sure what's going on there. I have I think 9 meetings at the State House over the next 2 days. So hopefully I'll be able to gather some intel.
Leo, did you want to bring up some of our local efforts and some help that we need from folks potentially in the future from the Cleveland area?
Yeah. So because Columbus passed their flavor ordinance and we got the governor to veto the preemption bill, there's suburbs in the Columbus area that are back on board and starting to pass these types of ordinances. Some of them are just tobacco retail license, others are tobacco retail license and flavors. So I'm kind of keeping track of those. I think there's 3 municipalities around Columbus that are doing both. And we typically just support the ones that do the flavors. Not that we're against tobacco retail license, it's just not a priority for us. But that has also created some buzz in Cleveland. And so Cleveland has been wanting to do something for a while. It's been kind of slow going, but they do have an ordinance that was introduced, I think, a week or 2 ago. They're not going to move on it quickly because they're going to focus on the state or the city budget, which probably means that they won't focus on this tobacco ordinance till end of March, early April, is what we're hearing right now. And that, of course, could change. Lots of local groups and community organizations supporting it. We assume that there's support from city council, but it's hard to tell. It's a pretty big city council. So that's kind of where our focus is right now, is reaching out to those city council members to make sure that we have enough votes there. The mayor is going to be supportive. The new mayor, Gibbs. He'll be, is it Gibbs or Bibbs?
Bib.
He'll be supportive because this is coming straight from his. This is coming straight from his health department. So his health person that he brought on, this was one of his top priorities. So we're assuming it's going to get done. Our biggest thing is always looking for keeping the language clean. They already added a hookah exemption that we do not support. It doesn't mean that we can't support the whole bill, but when I go and testify or if I'm talking to council members about it, I have to remind them that we don't support any exemptions. And that's kind of just a sticky issue, but we'll still support it overall if that's the only exemption. But as we do gear up for, this coming up in city council meetings, we could use your support, especially if you're in the Cleveland area or know someone who lives in Cleveland. We need storytellers to be able to either go and talk to city council, send emails and letters to city council. All the groups that are part of the coalition are kind of focused on that right now.
Well, Robin, I'm typing to Robin, so I'm sorry, Leo. Anything you need in Cleveland, whether it's letters, going down to meet with them, testifying, I am more than open to helping you with. I'm only 15 minutes out of the city, so it's very easy for me to get there, and I don't work, so.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep you all posted. Like I said, it's kind of hard figuring out the timeline right now. You have to go take a bath, buddy.
Please.
But we obviously will keep track of it, and then hopefully, like Columbus, once the city passes it, the surrounding suburbs will become interested as well. Sorry.
Leo, this is Rich. Do we know who the chair of the health committee on Cleveland Council is? You know that? I can't think of
Yes,
who.
not off the top of my head.
Okay.
I will look it up and put it in the chat for you.
Okay, thank you. Because Kevin Conwell used to be, and Kevin's a cancer survivor too. He's an ally, so.
Okay.
Thank you, Leo. Yeah,
course.
lots of things happening. So as we learn more about any of the suburbs in Columbus, we'll definitely keep everyone informed. But since the city of Cleveland already went public with this and announced it and introduced, we wanted to make sure we gathered everyone together. So if you know folks within the city limits, especially, but nearby as well, we really would appreciate as Leo shares more and we kind of gear up for testimony and visits. We really appreciate all of our northern support up there. So thank you. All good things. Any last questions for Leo? No? Well, thank you, Leo, always.
Of course.
And we'll dive into some of the grassroots updates and then we'll kind of brainstorm some areas too. I know in the last couple of Friday emails that I sent to everyone, there's been a lot of pieces. And so first I want to start with Cancer Action Day. And I'm going to put the sign up in the chat. And I know it was in my most recent emails, but I'm excited to say we have 34 current registered participants for Cancer Action Day, which is really awesome for the first week of launching the registration online. So thank you if you're already registered. Oh, I just refreshed. We're at 36. So 2 more today. So 36 current registered. Really looking forward to April 18th. This will be my 8th Cancer Action Day in Ohio with you. First, obviously, as your grassroots manager, but I'm just really excited. It'll be here before we know it in 2 months, and I appreciate the committee coming together last week, and we already have some future dates scheduled for additional planning, but would love for all of you to be there with us. If you're not already currently registered, the sign up is in the chat. I want to highlight in our Google Drive that we have a lot of resources I've tried to create for all of you. And if there are things that you still feel are needed to help with publicizing Cancer Action Day, would love to hear your ideas. So there is a flyer and social images already created. So if you go into our Google Drive, this is the sign up first and foremost. So this is where you can see kind of that update, like I mentioned, of how many are signed up. But in our Google Drive, under our folder, I did create a Cancer Action Day 2023 folder. So you can move this, go into this and find our flyer, the most recent email that was sent out. So this shared my story on Valentine's Day, asking ambassadors to sign up. That social image is here. The flyer does have this QR code, but for any reason, if you were kind of making your own email or wanting just the direct URL QR code, that is also here. But the biggest thing I know we talked about as a committee last week for those that are on the subcommittee was an active spreadsheet to see who is currently signed up for Cancer Action Day. So if you're recruiting friends, family, coworkers, anyone, and you're wanting to know if they're signed up, this is created and sorted by Senate district and the House districts that reflect appropriately in those Senate districts. So as people are registering, I am entering this information for you all to be able to reference. So again, we're up to 36 registrants, and hopefully we'll just continue to see more and more with your help and spreading the word about this really impactful day on April 18th. So these are the current resources within our Google Drive available to all of you, so you can kind of monitor the progress as we get more folks signed up, but would really appreciate your help in sharing out this URL, the social graphics, and the flyer to anyone you think would be interested in joining us. Does anybody have questions about April 18th, the beginning stages of Cancer Action Day, that myself or anyone on the committee could answer?
Sarah, I emailed some folks that are in some targeted counties around Tom and I. I indicated what Cancer Action Day was and what we're going to talk about this year and a little bit about Cancer Action Day. Would it be helpful to anyone if I put a copy of that email on the website so that they could just drag and drop to their people, their contacts? Yes.
That'd be great, Julie. Yeah, I can absolutely upload it to the Google Drive there in that folder. And I
Okay,
think that
then
would
I'll
be
just let you do it.
wonderful. Yeah, I love that. If you give me permission, I'm more than happy. I know you copied me on one of those emails. I can absolutely upload that in a document and put it on the Google Drive. Appreciate your willingness to share.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so another idea as far as thinking about recruitment, I, being in the Dayton-ish area nearby Julie as well, kind of thought about targeted areas from a perspective of Rep White is our co-sponsor of the biomarker bill. So when I realized that she was kind of suburbs of Dayton, just beside where I live, I started to think about friends and family I knew that lived in her district, because I would love for her to have someone to visit with during Cancer Action Day, to thank her for being the sponsor of the bill. And so I did reach out to some folks that I know from the development side. And I do have a Pan Ohio rider and friend of mine who lost his dad to cancer, who is signed up and in her district. So those kind of strategies, like Julie said, kind of looking at that spreadsheet where we might have gaps that aren't too far from you, or where friends and family or coworkers live, would love to kind of look at it from that district perspective too, and who the reps are and senators are, to try to get folks to visit with them. So that's a really good thought, Julie, and something I was personally doing as well for some of my outreach for Cancer Action Day, inviting friends to join me. Any other thoughts and questions about Cancer Action Day, Vince?
The one thing is, have we gotten closer to creating the one-page layman description, especially of the biomarker and copay accumulator bill? As I'm beginning to speak with people, I'm trying to put this in the easiest, most simple form for people that probably would know it if we describe it, but some people may not have encountered this.
Sure.
And I was looking for assistance. I know it took me an awful long time to get my arms around, especially copay accumulator, if we have that little brief description.
Yeah, so Leo and I actually talked about that this morning during our weekly touch base. He and I meet on Mondays, and that was something we talked about going ahead and getting a quick start on now in advance. So kind of those fact sheets, but also just resource for you, like you said, Vince, on how we could share that out with individuals, to help recruit them so they feel a little bit more comfortable. We'll start working on the training documents too. So I know that that's a conversation that we'll be having after this call for those few of you that asked to be on the training committee. So I do think we could see resources like that within the next week or two to be able to share out with all of you. So when you are recruiting and talking to individuals, you can use those as reference. So great thought. Jody, did you have your hand up?
Yes, hi. Hi, everyone. I have a question about, I'm not sure why my camera isn't turning on. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's not working. So as long as you can hear me. But I have a question about bringing bodies to Columbus. If there's a volunteer who wants to come, but maybe they can't stay the whole day, be there for the breakfast and all the trainings and things, can we have bodies meet us there that just come into the rooms with us, if they don't speak? Or if you come, do you really have to be there for the entire day?
Yeah, so that's a question we get a lot. I think they need to be registered and they need to go through our training, meaning getting all of our resources on our actual registration list so they're getting all the materials in advance and are prepped. Like our training videos that we'll be working on recording. So we'll send a big kind of guidebook, if you will, in those videos. And I think it's important that they at least need to have all of that and they need to be officially in our registration system and get their kind of like name tag badge, if you will. If you know they couldn't be there to check in, like right at 8:30 to 9:30 when we have registration open, before we do the breakfast and opening speech training, we could chat about that. And as long as they, again, are on that list, have gone through all of our prep, and you have helped recruit them, you know, you could grab their name tag for them if you think they're going to be late or not able to stay for the whole day. But let's just kind of chat through that if you encounter anyone that could only come for portions or certain meetings.
Okay, great. Yeah,
So
thank
not
you.
a full no, but yeah, let's work through, let's get them
It's okay, it
registered
makes
and
sense.
yeah,
I agree with what you're saying. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
of course. Any other questions about Cancer Action Day? More to come from myself and the planning committee. Just really appreciate everyone's help recruiting, and I'm looking forward to us increasing our registration. Awesome. Well, beyond that, the next thing I wanted to share is kind of around Lights of Hope and a lot of that material that I have been covering in our Friday emails. So really excited to say that we do have 15 official pages created from the state of Ohio. That was our goal by the end of the month. So thank you. If you have already logged in to the new Donor Drive Lights of Hope system and created a page, really appreciate everyone leaning in on that goal. And just for reference, last year we raised a total in the state of Ohio just over 52,000 for Lights of Hope. Total fundraising though, we were 56,905, so nearly 57,000 in total fundraising. And that includes all events. So Barb's Laughter Can Cure event, anything that you all were working at on the local level, plus our Lights of Hope was that nearly 57,000. So this year our goal will be to try to come together and go over that 57,000. And Lights of Hope is obviously the majority of that, with over 52,000 of that. So last year we had 21 pages created and ambassadors that focused on trying to get Lights of Hope bag donations. So to already have 15 by the end of February is really incredible. So really hoping to go over that 21 pages and shoot for 25 of us creating those. There are a lot of new updated resources from the engagement team on the national level. Those have all been uploaded into our Google Drive. So if you haven't checked those out, that is under fundraising, and Lights of Hope has its own folder here. So I have pulled all of this from the websites and uploaded them here into our drive. And I just give kudos to Rachel, Andrea, and Molly from the national team on updating all of this for you. There's a membership form there if you're soliciting folks trying to become members of ACS CAN, as well as supporting your Lights of Hope efforts for $10. There's the new incentive levels, a new sponsorship cover letter. So if you're going to be reaching out for potential sponsorships, they already made sample letters here of some verbiage that you can take and update and make personal. The sponsorship packet is there, and there are some new levels of sponsorship, including a family level, which is really great. So I highly encourage you to look at that if you'll be joining us for making a Lights of Hope page and are potentially looking for local sponsors to support your efforts. I can't speak highly enough of the new page for Donor Drive. So I'm going to switch over to their actual Lights of Hope resource page. This is, again, where I pulled all of those materials that are in our Google Drive. They're all under this resource tab here. But something I want to highlight that I didn't pull and move over to our Google Drive are all of these video trainings. So when you are on this Lights of Hope resource page and you click over to their Donor Drive resource tab, they have created videos on how to do pretty much everything within the dashboard. Personalization, sending emails, adding offline donations if you have anyone that gives you checks, and how to process those donations. Really just wonderful resources here. And again, can't give enough kudos to that team for everything that they did to provide these for us. I'm really, really excited. I know I highlighted this. Kudos to Barb for doing some Super Bowl Sunday squares and already uploading a lot of those funds. And you're currently #2 in the nation. Julie's also up there in the top 10, but I'm checking this page frequently and keeping track of our efforts in Ohio. And again, we have 15 folks that have already created a page. I'm going to pull mine up just as a reference here to show you some of the really great materials and changes to the Donor Drive system. So it allows you to customize your page really personally. So they encourage you to use a photo that would stand out to anyone for them to know that they're supporting you. So this is a photo of my little one and I. And I've set a goal of raising $1,000 this year. You can edit this at any time, but what I think is really neat is that it allows you to set milestones. And I think this kind of helps you take whatever your goal may be, whether that's selling one bag for $10 or 20,000, like Vince's incredible efforts last year. We all have our own goals that we're striving for and shooting for, and we're all a team. So I just can't emphasize enough that whether you are hoping to just sell a few bags or a lot and bring in potential sponsors, us getting to our goal of 57,000 or more for the state is really the big goal for us to think about for all of us. So if you want to be a part of that, set a small goal and add some milestones along the way. Right now I have one as, help me get to halfway, and I'll kind of push for the 500 and then keep going from there. I really love that Donor Drive allows you to customize your why. And so this talks about, they do have a script that's already kind of pre-populated for you, but you can customize something personal. So I have mine here. Me being diagnosed with cancer is my why. And then I just celebrated 15 years cancer-free in February 12th. And then my gram was just recently diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and she's now my new why, beyond just my personal battle. And so I love that you can upload photos. It even allows you to upload videos now if you have a video that you want to make and link. This new system, if you've ever done Lights of Hope in the past, is just really, really wonderful. And I'm grateful that we've switched over to this Donor Drive system. So that's just an overview. Again, highly encourage you to look through that resource folder and really look at all the new documents that have been updated, all the packets and sponsorship materials. If you haven't made a page and are interested, it's really quick and easy. I'm happy to help you through that. And again, they have the videos uploaded on the website, which are very, very helpful too, with some step-by-step instructions. So thanks to everyone for helping us kind of strive to get to our $57,000 goal. I've told some folks, but coming in as your new grassroots manager, I would love nothing more to keep battling against the big state of California. To be #2 in the nation last year is incredible. And for us, little Ohio, to be able to compete with California and be #2 is really great. But I would love to see us keep chipping away at one day becoming #1. So it's going to take all of us. Again, whether you have a small or large goal, just really appreciate everyone taking some time to make your pages. And I know fundraising maybe doesn't amp up till summer, but going ahead and making your page is a really great start and helps us kick off our efforts with a bang. So can I answer any questions about Lights of Hope or what that might look like?
Sarah, I did find out something new last week, and that is that this year at Leadership Summit and Lobby Day, and I'm sure this will be of particular interest to Barb if she hasn't heard this yet, all of the fundraising will be lumped together for the fundraising awards. So it won't be a simple Lights of Hope. I know that she and I both and some others have tried to figure out how we can incorporate Lights of Hope in our other fundraising so it gets us to the level. She can call it Laughter Can Cure and it still be considered part of the fundraising award, or Cancer's a Drag, or, you know, Tom's no shave November, or whatever. Those fundraisers will also be into consideration for awards and presentation at Leadership Summit and Lobby Day.
So they changed their mind on that, right?
Well, all I
Originally
can
they were
tell you is
saying
what I've been
separate.
told by Molly.
Okay.
So when you look at the fundraising incentive flyer with all the levels of how you all are recognized and awarded for your efforts, that is mentioned. And I'm glad you brought that up, Julie, because that's how I am goaled as well as your staff. So instead of having line items that says Lights of Hope goal, outside fundraiser goal, we just have a large overall Ohio fundraising goal. And so again, that was 56,905 last year, so nearly 57,000, and us striving to have an increase over that. So if Lights of Hope isn't maybe something you're interested in wanting to do, but you have an idea of a fundraiser at the local level, let's chat, because it is an overall effort and they've done a really wonderful job through Donor Drive to make it easy for us to make other pages. So outside of Lights of Hope, we could go back and visit kind of the auction that we've done in the past, I know, as a state. There are a lot of things I know we've come together on, but also everyone's done at individual levels too, like Julie said. So really great beginning conversation for us to talk through how we all work together to get towards that state Ohio goal of 57,000. So dig through the resources. Let me know if you have questions. As I find new resources, I'm trying to add them to that Google Drive to make it quick and easy for all of you. So if there's anything you ever feel is missing, let me know and I can try to find something for you. But really appreciate everyone leaning in on that goal. I'm excited to be a part of it with you. Really thrilled to be able to do my own Lights of Hope efforts and be a part of us striving for those goals. So with that fundraising, it was presented to me that in the past we've talked about a shirt potentially as a state to try to raise funds. My peer in Michigan has a vendor who is really willing to partner with us in Ohio as well and not charge us for the efforts because the Michigan team is already utilizing them. It's a very quick and easy website process. They create and own that for us. They handle all of the shipping of the shirts if anyone purchases and donates to buying one. So the fact that it's kind of an all in all, checking the boxes of that, Lauren wanted me to bring that up in our call today and get some of your thoughts and ideas for next steps I can take. So the vendor has already connected with me. His name is Caleb. And the Michigan team does currently have their site live, and they're already selling a short sleeve and long sleeve shirt. They are simply using the ACS CAN logo and putting advocate under it. So it basically says ACS CAN advocate. We could do something similar, but an idea that I think had been talked about in the past was incorporating the state of Ohio. I know all of us, I love to buy Ohio things. I am that person. I'm guilty of loving anything that has an Ohio outline with it. So I want to share, this is very early stage, again, working with Caleb from the team, an idea that he wanted me to present to all of you to get feedback on. And again, we can keep brainstorming. We would love to hear all of your thoughts on this. But this is very recent, him emailing an idea of taking the logo and putting the state outline around it. These are our ACS can branded colors of the blue and red from our logo and our brand guide. So these are just examples. We can really talk through if we want a gray shirt, whatever it may be. But he just went ahead and created based on our brand colors. And this is just a different way of looking at it. Instead of a hard line of white around the logo, you can do something also called it's a thin halftone line, essentially, small dots coming together that kind of looks more like a blur or a blend. So he did also do a halftone version here. Trying to zoom in so you can see that a little better. So these are just right off the bat, his two ideas. This is potentially us wanting to have new merch for us to wear and help, be a marketing tool of all of our efforts for ACS Can, but it's also a fundraiser. So they will give us $5 back a shirt, which I think is always great if we're going to consider doing something like this, to know we can also fundraise in our efforts of doing shirts would be really wonderful. So want to get your thoughts on it. Not something we have to do, but if we have a good response and you all want to continue talking about shirts, we can work through that and work on potential marketing of what we want if we don't want something like the logo with the state of Ohio outline. So any thoughts on doing a shirt fundraiser and what you think? Pam?
This is Pam. I think it's a good idea. I'll buy one. You know me, I buy everything. However, I was just wondering, is there something on the back of the shirt? You said something about advocate going somewhere.
So Michigan is not doing back printing because it cost more. So that would be less that we would get back. It is something we could bring up, right? The folks in Michigan are not doing an outline. They're just literally doing the logo and then it says advocate under it. So they're not incorporating their state in any way. We could do that. We could just do the generic, with our logo and advocate under it. But that's kind of, since I already knew that that was something he had created, I played around with asking him about incorporating Ohio. So we could keep playing off of this idea and get as creative as we want. But I will say if we add anything on the back, it'll cost more and we wouldn't get as much back.
Sarah,
I think there's like.
Go ahead, Pam.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just thinking that maybe the advocate part could go on the underneath of the bottom of the state or whatever.
Yeah.
Sarah, I got a hat from them last year, from Michigan last year. And I was told that they put the advocate on there because ACS Can didn't want them to use the straight logo. And that's why they had to include advocate. And on the cap, they put it vertically along one side of the logo. Looks pretty good. But that might be something you'd want to check about. And then I was thinking when somebody was first bringing this up that somebody in our group had a tagline that they were thinking of. Was that you, Barb?
Yeah, that was me. The tagline I had was, your story can, all caps in the can, make a difference in the fight against cancer. So I don't know if there's something being that long that we can incorporate on the front. And I don't want to take away from profits by putting it on the back. But it may work better there. I don't know. But that was what as I said in my email, I kind of had a dream about. So.
I like the Ohio outline.
I mean, does everyone like incorporating, do we have an agreement though that we want the Ohio outline and we can play around with the words? Does everyone like that it has Ohio?
I like the Ohio outline.
Very much so.
It distinguishes us.
I like the idea of incorporating Ohio too.
Okay. We all love our Ohio. Okay, so we're like, okay, keep that, but play around with some words. I can definitely ask him, with the word advocate, Barb, your tagline.
Oops.
Back, and ask them to kind of play around from their digital side and give us some other samples to look at. But next question, and we can do a poll on this if we need to. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, before you go on, love the idea of creating, you know, a tagline and adding that kind of stuff, but just want to call out that any kind of additional wording or a tagline has to be approved by the legal department. Just
Oh, yeah.
FYI.
Oh, yeah.
Don't want,
understand
you
that.
know, you guys to think we're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
crush your dreams, but we have to
Oh,
send
no.
that up the chain.
Well, and how much would it
Everything's
add to
reviewed.
the, wouldn't it add to the cost of the shirt?
Of course.
It depends. Yeah, it depends. And that's the question I can ask, you know, what that means, obviously have to get it approved by our team, like Leo said, regardless. Lauren has already looked at this in her management on the Ohio outline, so that's totally fine and approved. But adding verbiage like we're talking about, obviously we'll have to go through those same review processes after the fact. So we'll work through that, and I can ask if that adds cost to the shirts too. Right now they're $21 for Michigan, and again they're getting 5 back of that. The big question is coloring. You know, do we like the idea of keeping the Ohio with the red and or blue being our ACS can colors? We do have flexibility on that. These are Bella and Canva shirts. If you haven't ever had a Bella and Canva, we use those for Pan Ohio. They are so soft. Really amazing blend. So these are nice quality
Good
shirts.
choice. Good
Uh,
choice.
yeah, so that's what they suggested. So that's the pricing that this group gave, $21 with 5 coming back to us as a donation per item. But we could do a long sleeve, and so that's the question I have is that something people are interested, a short sleeve and a long sleeve? That is what the Michigan team is doing. So this is just showing us 2 short sleeve, but did want to ask about any interest in us doing a long sleeve option.
No, I always
Still at
prefer a
least
long
one
sleeve.
long sleeve. I would buy a long sleeve.
Yep,
That would
I
be my
would too.
preference.
When I think back on shirts that we are given, right, it's less likely that we get a lot of long sleeve. So it might be nice to be able to have something with the ACS can logo and a long sleeve if it's not something you already have. I know I don't. I'm just saying that out loud, me, you know, thinking I would probably buy a long sleeve because I don't have anything long sleeve with our logo on it, just short sleeve.
And we could do both, right?
Yes. So his encouragement, and that's where I'm going with this, is if we do 2 short sleeve, we can pick 2 colors. So he currently, you know, had the red and the blue option. If we rather do a short sleeve and long, he encourages that we only do 1 color. I think that's probably from a production side of things and cost. So that's just their encouragement of keeping costs down for us and us getting more back. So he would suggest that we pick just 1 color, but we could have the option of it being in either short sleeve or long sleeve to buy. Does that change anyone's thoughts on doing a long sleeve?
No.
And what direction would we go for a color?
Blue.
Blue.
I hear a lot of
I
blue.
like red, but I'm
Gray.
probably in the minority.
Gray.
I hear gray. So it looks like we're gonna have to vote, is what I'm hearing.
I think you need to send out a poll.
That we can do. But I think we all agree then on wanting to do a long sleeve. So we'll just have to talk through color next. I will absolutely make a poll. Really appreciate everyone's thoughts. I'll go back to Caleb and the team and get some next steps on adding the word advocate and what it would look like if we got approval on a tagline. Really excited to be able to kind of do this across the board and get some additional fundraising for us as a state. I know a lot of folks that would buy it regardless of if they're currently involved. A lot of ACS folks I know would also, because we have less, to be really honest with you, with our ACS can logo. And I can say that as being ACS staff. I think I have 1 shirt that has ACS can logo. There's just always been more of an abundance from events like Relay and Strides where we can get ACS items, but really thrilled we could maybe do something like this and make it a fundraiser. So thanks for all the excitement and feedback. I want to open it up just for any questions about fundraising or thoughts. Has anyone seen anything else recently or have any questions about our fundraising efforts.
I just have a comment.
Sure.
I was very excited to hear from my friend in South Carolina who has already started on not one, but 2 quilts for the Lobby Day auction. Yay!
Love it.
Why that face, Julie? What does that mean?
Just put that on the agenda.
We'll talk
What are we
through
doing
that.
this year?
Yeah, so we can talk through that in the next, now that we have new resources with Donor Drive, I think we should chat through that. I know I've bid. I've obviously not been your staff and talked about auctions, but I know I've been a bidder, right? As a friend and advocate. I did bid on some items last year. So yeah, I love that. I'll bring that up for future fundraising topic on our next call, revisiting an auction. So think on that. Keep your ideas coming about fundraising, and we can make sure they're highlighted on our future calls for the group to talk through. Okay, so next on the agenda, just some reminders and then open it up to all of you if you have any questions. Really appreciate those of you that have been looking through the new report back form. I know I've reached out to a couple of you who have been reporting. If you are in connection with any of your lawmakers, or if you're working on anything at the local level, I know that the national team and our engagement team appreciate seeing that we're reporting that. So essentially, you emailing me is wonderful to keep me in the loop, and Leo as well, but they do have a new form they're asking all of us to use. And I know I've referenced that before in some of the past emails, but now they are actually sending reports on it. So want to put that, again, I'll highlight that in the chat and in my future emails. But if you're doing anything and you're working on efforts with your lawmakers at any level, if you could tag or favorite this report back form, I have it just starred in my Google Chrome, so it's quick and easy access for me. But would appreciate you, for the team, putting any of your efforts in that report back form. I know Ohio has always been kind of one of the leading states, and they call it out, trust me, in our staff calls. They really appreciate that we're sharing with them what we're doing at the local level, so our federal and state teams know. So just wanted to highlight that report back form again, and just overall the Google Drive. I really am trying to beef that up. I know it's at the top of every one of my Friday emails, but if you haven't already added that as a starred item for you to be able to quick reference, I'm adding all kinds of materials in there, and hoping that I can add anything that you feel is needed at the local level, for you to be able to be a successful advocate. So if you think of anything, and you have ideas on things that I can add to the Google Drive, please let me know, because it's definitely a tool for you to be able to use, and I want to make it as user-friendly as possible. So just wanted to highlight the Google Drive again and the report back form, since that is a new form for 2023 and beyond for us to use. And those were really the big major items for us to discuss. I know we're coming up on an hour, but have a few minutes if anyone has questions or comments about all of our efforts around Cancer Action Day, fundraising, and what we're working on this year. Yeah, Jody, I see your hand up.
Hi, yes, on the report back form. So last year we recorded all kinds of different activities. Am I understanding that the only thing we're supposed to put into the report back form is just if like we're directly communicating with either staff or the legislators? So made a phone call, had an office visit, email, only
Yeah,
those
good.
types of things.
So if you open up the report back form here, I'll share my screen just so you can get an idea. Really great question, Jody. It's got a list of suggested examples of things that they're talking about. So visits, letters, emails, text, phone call, even if you are connecting with them for social media tagging, asking them questions, if you submit letters to them, like I'll call out, Pam Mangus sent Valentine cards to a lot of elected officials recently, and she put that here. There's even a box for other. So I guess, whatever you're working on, this new form is kind of broken out by what's the issue. So for us, a lot of what we're working on is access to health, which is our biomarker. And then we do have tobacco work. Leo mentioned our budget ask for increasing 5.5 million. We have copay, which falls under access as well. So you would check what it was you were reaching out about or what you were discussing. And then there's, again, a bunch of options for what you were doing. And this is a lot more generic of a form. So just type as much or as little as you want, and what you were doing, what kind of response you received from them, if you had any follow-up that you'll have to do. So this is a really simple form in comparison to, from what I understand, your previous system. So play around with it, look at it, but that's kind of a screen share for you.
So Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, whatever, that all counts.
They do have a social media box. Yep.
Okay.
But it's for us people who like to compete, it's not as much fun because we are talking strictly about what we're doing pertaining to the lawmaker himself or herself. So like all those things, if you're going to go to an event, a relay, a strides or a community event or whatever, there's no place to put that in this report back form.
Right.
Unless the lawmaker happens to show up.
Right. This is strictly just for the engagement team on a legislative level. That's a really great point. For us, at a local level, if we want to talk through tracking. I know there were points affiliated and associated with the old system. That is something for us to kind of dive into, and I can put that as an agenda item for next month, because we have the ability at the local level to kind of dive in further to point systems or what that might look like, and just engagement across the board. So going to events. I love that you mentioned that, Pam. I did just upload that most recently to the Google Drive. We have received our final Ohio events document. So Sarah Wells, her team from the ACS side works to support all of us, which is so helpful, to ask all of our event dates. And they put together a document that literally lists every event in Ohio, who the staff partner is, what date it is, where it's located. So whether that's relay, making strides, a golf event, my old sport events, us for Cancer Action Day is listed, every type of event. So that did get finalized just 2 days ago. And I think we got it Friday afternoon, actually, so 2 business days. And I did upload that to the drive. So if you would like to go ahead and take a look at events in your area, if you have gone to some of those in the past, you can look at what their dates are for 2023, and we can begin working on some local efforts to attend all of those various events and what you may want to bring to them. All of that's in the Google Drive we can work through. And I have a lot of resources too that I can help you with, materials. So if you're thinking about doing events, please connect with me, because I ordered a ton of stickers, lapel pins, you name it, including new tablecloths and such. So take a look at that event list, and let me know if you're interested in attending some of those in your local areas. So
Sarah,
we'll continue to talk through that.
Will we work through you or work on our own to find like the Pride events in our area?
Yeah,
because
great point.
We just did that last year.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up. So I actually sit on our Ohio Diversity and Inclusion Work Group for staff. So I am really in the know on our efforts on all things diversity and inclusion and equity. So I did attend and have, Julie knows this, our Dayton Pride. I was kind of like the co-lead for Dayton Pride. And I think it is a huge focus that we have a budget for us to attend a lot of Pride events across the state. I did bring up the two that you attended, Pam and Pam, because I did see some photos in the drive that you went to Findlay and others locations. So I knew of Dayton just because I was there. But I do think we will be present at as many as we'd like because we've been given a pretty large budget from ACS to attend Pride events, and my peers are very aware that we want to represent ACS Can as well. So, in fact, I've already ordered stickers and some shirts. So we're ready and we can continue building materials on that. But Pride would absolutely be events to consider, and you can connect with me on that. And we're going to work to try to get more folks from the ACS side as well in attendance to those. Julie, I love, has already been making Pride hats as well. She's wearing one of those now. So yes, think ahead for Pride too. Those will not be on the document though, Pam, since they're not like our official ACS events, right? But if you know of one in the area you're wanting to attend, let me know and I can compare it to our diversity and inclusion list from the staff side. But
So
we have a very large
will
budget.
you actually make a list, or should we let you know of anything in the area? Because
Let
there
me
are
know
quite
of-
a few that we didn't do anything with last year.
Yeah, let me know the ones you are most interested in, and I can chat with our group about that and see how it overlaps with what our spreadsheet currently is that we're focusing on having staff presence. Yeah, so let me know and I can definitely compare it to the list we just started making. We actually had a meeting last week, so we're in early planning stages for that too.
Okay, great.
From our
Thanks.
side.
Do they have to be sanctioned by ACS Can? Because there was one of them up here that was not necessarily a Pride event per se, but it was. But I didn't go, and it wasn't necessarily a parade. It was like I think it was in Fremont, but it wasn't like sanctioned. I'm on the LGBTQ work group or whatever they're called, committee, whatever. And that was not one of the ones that they had brought up.
Yeah, let me know because we attend all kinds of different events, even outside of Pride for our DE&I work group. So yeah, let's connect on any of those type of ideas. It just so works out that I'm on that work group and more in the know on what ACS is doing. But we have a pretty large budget, like I said. So let me know and I can chat with my ACS peers because we were just starting to kind of type those out of interested events we'd want to have representation from ACS Can. So let me know of any ideas outside of Pride and DE&I that you think would be a good fit for us to be present.
Yeah, we've got 2 new Infinity groups, so maybe we can get something's around Ohio that we can get into too for the Infinity groups.
But even if it's not something your peer group or whatever is looking at, Sarah, could something like that be considered a community event?
Oh,
and
absolutely.
we can participate in it as a community event, right?
Oh, yeah. If there's anything you're ever interested in attending, even if it's not from a broader spectrum of something that we might be leaning in to have staff support, absolutely. You tabling, setting up items, just shoot me a message so, I'm in the loop and I can help support you, right? And make sure you've got resources that you need to be successful in setting up a table. But of course, definitely, if there are other events you're wanting to set up a table, we can chat through that. I just love that you brought up Pride because that is a big priority for our DE&I group to be present at more of them across the state. So just wanted to share that, but there's a lot of opportunity beyond that. Bring on the emails, Barb. I love it. You all reach out. Anything you need. Yeah, Barb emailed me today asking for Lights of Hope bags, and I was able to order those and get them shipped to her. Julie asked me for t-shirts to make some scarves, right? And was able to grab some old ACS shirts. I know she likes to try to make those purple and pink for our relay and strides events. So whatever you need, please never hesitate to reach out and I will get something for you. I'll do my best. Any questions or thoughts to close us out?
So in your, to your knowledge, for the Lights of Hope, have they come up with a number to go to DC yet?
Meaning how many they'll set up?
Yep.
Yes, so they did share that on the training or presentation, if you will. So Rachel Eardman had shared that there were about 60,000 plus that were sold last year, like donation, right? And they set up 20,000. This year they will only set up 10,000. So that was shared. And I know that there were some reasonings that Rachel and her team shared as far as like environmental concerns. It will be at the Congressional Gardens again, for those of you that were there last year and saw that. So other than the environmental issues and just impact of wanting it to be easier for everyone to find their bags from the state level, they did decide to only set up 10,000. And we'll have to, at the state level, be given a number that we are told we can select to set up. So we don't know those yet. That I don't know. I just know the overall number is 10,000.
So as staff, Sarah, are you able to give suggestions or opinions from your volunteers about that?
They asked in the all leads call if anyone had suggestions to absolutely email them to Rachel. So you are welcome to even do that.
So 10,000 is the number. Yeah. You use the money raised from 2020 and get a percentage of the 10,000 so that those states that go over and above and do a great job, like Ohio does, California does, Florida does, Texas does, Illinois does, those people may have a few more bags because their people are going a little bit farther than some other states that are not so involved.
Yeah, great suggestion. Email it to Rachel.
What do you think, guys?
They have not made a choice.
Sincerely hope that we would have more bags displayed than Montana or Wyoming or somewhere.
Thank you, Pam.
Sure. And so I would think that that's on Rachel's mind, but they have not publicized what the answer is because I don't know if they know it yet. They do want suggestions. So please send your suggestions because that was asked during the all leads call, if you caught that they want you to send in your suggestions to help them decide, but they did share it would be 10,000. So
wasn't it last year we could only do 50 bags a piece?
No,
there was no limit last year.
There was no limit last year.
I believe
they had asked that any of them that were displayed locally not come to DC as well.
Right.
But I think that if you have an opinion on this, folks, if we email Rachel, she'll listen to us, and it is a valid point. So email Rachel.
Sarah, is the environmental piece of it the candle, the plastic candle?
Having to throw them away. I mean, because it's
they
short.
Don't reuse them.
I mean, and it's a short time frame, right? We're setting them up and immediately tearing them down within a few hours. So it is something I'm certain from the logistical side, because Rachel oversees that for the team, that was considered. Yeah.
They don't reuse them. They just pitch them.
Right. They throw them away.
The primary reason for reducing the number was the environmental side. Secondarily, I think it was one, setup and takedown, because it's a very small crew that does this. And I think it was an overwhelming task last year with as many bags as they had to try and get them displayed. And then also they did a great job of displaying them, but I think people had a hard time finding their bags and they wanted to make that a little easier. Again, those are secondary. I believe the primary was the environmental. You have these candles for a very short period of time and just the setup and takedown. So that was the impression I got from Rachel.
Well, if we're limited to the amount of bags we can bring, I mean, I know that, you know, we all have, a lot of us have a lot of bags. So if I bring 300 to DC and they only use, 20 of them or 150 of them, I'm going to be looking all night for the rest of my bags. So we'd be nice to know if we have a limit that we can bring based on what our state has done in the past, so that if we do our own displays locally, we can use the other ones there.
Or if there's importance to which bags you would want displayed there, right? So being new to this, right, and coming in for the first year, I would think, if I do my own display at home, I would know maybe some of the folks that I really would want to prioritize having displayed there, right? And so I think that is something for us to share with Rachel if we have. It would
Julie,
be
you're good at
wonderful if they
writing.
could tell us. Yeah, because I would want to be able to pick, right? Like, well, I really,
Right.
really want this one displayed. So I do think that those are valid thoughts for sure, and I'm on the same wavelength.
Well,
Coming
Robin and I
in,
are trying to set up a local display here in one of the towns that are right in our area. And I want to know if I should I display 300 bags and only bring 100, or
sure.
Because I don't want to sit here and decorate a bag and then not use it anywhere.
But I think we can put more than one name on a bag.
Oh,
you know what I
know,
mean?
but I don't do that.
Oh, I
But
do.
I'm
I
just saying,
have
if we
bags
can't
with many
take all of the
names.
bags there, we can put more than one name
Well,
on.
well, the thing is I sell that many, so it's and I mean, I could put each person's multiple names on one bag for each person. That's fine. But if somebody buys 10 bags for one person, I can't put their name on it 10 times.
Sure. Well, we have talked.
Display. Yeah.
We have talked about having a display in Columbus, and it's never gotten off the table. It just comes up and then it dies for some reason or another. But if we have a lot of bags that have huge sentimental value to some of our donors, maybe we consider doing something special together as a group. I know it's really far for a lot of folks, the North and the South, most especially, but when we have donors that are donating year over year as much as they're donating, we have to ensure that we are doing justice to honor their loved ones. And I just think that we need to put our heads together and do the right thing, and whatever that means.
I love that you bring that up, because I think a lot of us have been brainstorming what those local displays could look like, right? Us teaming up together. So I know Jody and Alik have had conversations, being nearby each other in Cincinnati. Julie, we could talk about, because I'm going to be making bags this year or selling my own. If we want to do an even larger event to really show emphasis and special touch to it, I would highly encourage folks that are nearby each other too to think about broadening your displays as we learn more. And so I do think ongoing conversation about that and trying to make it special is something we can keep chatting
I think
through.
one way that you can, because I'm really torn about this too. I think DC was like people really get excited about that. And there's something really special that, your bag that you're remembering your mom or your sister is making the trek. And I know I felt really emotional even packing them up in the box to send them up there. But the one thing that I think, just a flip side to put a good spin on doing a local display, is you could have a twist where you actually have the people that have made bags or donated for bags could come that night, and maybe you have some soft drinks, or I don't know, it's in a park and everyone can stroll by and they can actually see the bag and kind of feel the same thing that we feel in DC, obviously on a smaller scale. But I'm hoping to kind of put that kind of a spin on it here in Cincinnati.
If you guys were having trouble finding your bags in DC, how's anybody ever going to know that you actually took them there? It just seems like a logistical nightmare. whoever's trying to set them up, next thing they're going to say is, if you want to bring 500 bags, you set them up.
Yeah, they are sectioned by state, Carolyn, so we know where the Ohio bags are, which
I
makes it
know,
a
but
little bit
Ohio's a
easier.
pretty big state too. I mean, come on, guys.
We are lucky to sell a lot of bags. Yeah, they're gonna do a good job adding some new elements this year too. And we can continue chatting through that. I don't want to keep anyone too late, but they are going to add some emphasis to helping section each state, I guess. Like they're calling it like a monument kind of display for each state to try to be able to find their state a little easier. So I know that's part of what the team is getting creative behind as
Just my
well.
opinion, I think the flags were plenty. I don't think
Yes.
making a monument is needed or whatever, making the little markers or whatever.
It's
Because
part of the sponsorship packet. So they're just adding levels of creative ability, I guess, for sponsors and recognition, if you will, was my understanding. Yeah.
I mean, if we could find our bags, and I've always missed at least one or two of my bags, but if I can find my bags out in front of Lincoln Memorial, I can find them among 10,000. So,
hey, another valid point that you just touched on is for sponsorships. For a corporate sponsorship, a lot of people might be more excited about having their company's logo on a local display, that more local people are likely to maybe go to their store or whatever the particular business is than if it's displayed in DC. So it might actually help with sponsorship sales.
With the corporate donations, there are signs that are provided and sent to everybody. So that portion is handled. The national people will ask you for a logo and they'll provide you yard signs showing who's sponsored. So that helps locally. It's the question of how you
display it.
How you want to display it. If you do something, a specific event, or if you just have them in your front yard as people go by.
If you guys are interested in a state display, I think Sarah and I can look into that again. If I recall correctly, Robin looked into doing a display on the steps of the State House, and they were going to charge a permit fee to do that. And so, we try to stay away from spending money on these displays, right? Since it's really a fundraising opportunity, right? But if it's cheap, then that's something we can revisit. I do have a stronger contact now after last year's policy forum with one of the people who runs events and contracts at the State House. So I can approach her and see, is there a way around the fee? Can we get some kind of discount for being a nonprofit, that kind of thing? Or do we do something, a statewide display in Columbus, but not at the State House, right? Could we work with the city to find a park? Could we do the James at OSU, something like that? So, there's a lot to consider, and I know we're way over time already, but I think Sarah and I can kind of look at potential options, and then we can regroup on that idea. The one thing I do want to know, because you all have way more experience than I do with Lights of Hope displays, do the local displays have to be done before DC? Or can we do them anytime?
You can do them anytime.
Anytime.
Because it would be cool if we got like the State House steps to do it the same day as the policy forum, so that we're all there. Like that would be cool. But now I'm just thinking ahead. But yeah, we'll definitely regroup on this one.
I love it. All great ideas. Well, thank you, everyone. Again, I know we went a little bit over. I so appreciate it. I will be out on Friday and Monday, so I am traveling down to Orlando to run the Disney Princess event, actually with our fellow Andrea Britcher. We're both running, which is exciting. So I will be out of office Friday and Monday. Can't wait to share pictures with you after I finish. Really excited to be able to celebrate my 15 years cancer anniversary kind of went hand in hand with this, so that's why I'm running the event. But if you need me, definitely shoot me an email. But just know if it is Friday or Monday, it'll take me a little bit longer to get back to you. But really appreciate everyone and look forward to meeting with you next month. If you need anything, definitely let me know.
So Sarah, are you and Andrea going to compete against each other, or is it going to be a nice